Hi, and welcome to my first ever book haul. So I rely pretty much exclusively on my library for reading material, and obviously with the world being as it is at the moment and not knowing when the libraries are going to reopen again, I thought now would be the perfect time to treat myself to some books. So yeah, I've got 5 books and I'm looking forward to reading every single one of them. Fairly recently, I had a look through the Goodreads Choice Awards for 2019 and 2018, and I had a look at the winners and those that had been shortlisted, and I added quite a few to my Goodreads TBR. So quite a few of the books I've got here are from there, and that's where I first found out about them. So the first book I picked was Vox by Christina Dalcher. And I got this one for just £2, which is such a great price for a brand new book. This book was shortlisted for the science fiction category in 2018. Now, the premise alone of this grabbed me. It's set in America. The government have decreed that women can speak only 100 words a day, and that's just the beginning. You're no longer allowed to teach girls how to read or write, and women are no longer allowed to hold jobs. It strikes me as a really intriguing concept, and I think it's going to give the foundation for some really powerful, strong, dynamic female voices to come through and flourish. Next up is The Lost Man by Jane Harper. This book was shortlisted for the mystery thriller category in 2019. But Jane Harper as an author was already on my radar as I read The Dry by her a couple of years ago, and I absolutely loved it. And I know she's got a sequel to that one out as well, and I think I might buy that next month. I don't know too much about this book because I like to go into mystery thrillers knowing very little about them. But I do know that it's set in Australia, in the outback of Queensland, and it involves 2 brothers who live on massive cattle properties. And because I've read another book by her, I think I'm really gonna like this one. If it's anything like that one, she has a great writing style, she's great at plot and character developments, and the last book was just really atmospheric and wonderful. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Next up is The Chain by Adrian McKinty. Now, this is another book that was shortlisted for the mystery thriller category in 2019. And I picked this one up because it sounds like it's going to be dark, like really, really dark. It's set in America, and the premise is that you receive a phone call from a stranger who tells you that your child has been kidnapped. And in the same breath, they tell you that their child has also been kidnapped by a different stranger. And the only way for you to save your child is to kidnap somebody else's child within 24 hours. And if you don't kidnap somebody's child, your child will be murdered. I mean, that sounds chilling and dark, and I think it's going to be really good. There's going to be twists and there's going to be turns, and I hope there's going to be loads and loads of suspense. The second to last book is The Perfect Child by Lucinda, and this is another thriller, so there's a bit of a theme here. And the premise is that there's a young couple and they're desperate for a child, and then a 6-year-old girl turn up at the hospital where they both work, and she's been abandoned, and they welcome her into their lives. The girl is a very disturbed child, so I think it's going to be a dark, suspenseful, psychological thriller. So one thing I really like is that Dr. Lucinda is a former clinical psychologist, and she's a leading researcher in childhood trauma. So I think that gives it a lot of extra credence because she'll be focusing and drawing from her own experiences and weaving that into the story. And I think that sounds really, really good. The final book is 9 Perfect Strangers by Liane Moriarty. Now, this was also shortlisted for the Best Fiction in 2018, But again, this is another author that was already on my radar because I read Big Little Lies a few years ago, right near when it first came out, and I absolutely loved it. It was a definite 5-star read for me. And I've also read her novel The Husband's Secret, which I also enjoyed. So I'm really looking forward to this one. In fact, she's an author where I'm planning on reading all of her books, and I don't do that very often. I think she has 8 published in total, and this is her most recent release. So this is another book where I want to go into it knowing very little about it. I know that 9 people meet for the first time at a health resort and they stay for 10 days, and that's literally all that I know. But if it's anything like Big Little Lies, I think I'm gonna absolutely love it. And I loved her writing style, and I think she's a brilliant author. So I think I'm gonna enjoy it no matter what, really. So that's the 5 books that I've picked up in the month of June. Have you read any of these books? What were your thoughts, but no spoilers? Have you got your eye on any of these now? Let me know down in the comments.